This is Kim Meyer, host of Choose to Rise. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Your Life Matters podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mariah White, and I am a passionate pediatric nurse practitioner and fired up health and happiness coach, here to deliver a message to you. This podcast is meant to provide a hope and a dream that fuels your soul to dream big and to dream bold and to inspire and empower you to live out your wildest freaking dreams and to grab a hold onto the unwavering truth that you were made for more. What's up, guys? Happy Tuesday. I'm so grateful that you're here, so humbled, and just so appreciative for you to be tuning into this episode. Last week, if you didn't hear, I was very stringent and purposeful about setting goals for a 2020 vision. And that started with reflecting on 2019. So if you missed last week's episode, I asked you pause, go back, listen to that episode, and then come back and join us, because this Tuesday, we are going to dive into the next level of how we're really going to create a 2020 vision for 2020. I really want to help you set the tone for a new decade. I really want you to set the tone for your life, because people underestimate what they can do in 10 years and they overestimate what they can do in a year. A lot of times people underestimate that time is truly their best ally. A lot of times people sit there and say, oh, I'm going to accomplish this and this year and and make all these goals. But really, truly, if you attach this goals and the intentions to a bigger seated, deeper rooted why, you will actually continue to achieve those goals and those milestones until you get to that why. Because when you set the vision for your life and what you want your overall life and overall picture to look like, then you can almost reverse engineer your dreams and your goals, because you already know what you want. And that way, if you have a bigger why, it's easy to be consistent. It's easy to be convicted. It is easy for me to show up every single day, even when I don't feel like it, even through hardships, even when I was back against the wall, difficult situations, life experiences. It was easy for me to show up in my business, in my life, and for my daughter, even when it was hard, because I have a deep-rooted why. My why, my vision, my actions are truly based off of everything that I know that I want in this life. So when I sit there and I have conversations with people and they're like, I'm trying to set resolutions, or this is what I want, or this is what I want 2020 to do for me, I really kind of am always taken back by it, because most of the time, it's not even an alignment of what they want their life to look like. They just kind of throw it out there because it's the thing to do. I don't want you to just throw out some goals, because at the end of the day, when you throw goals out there, you throw out these air quote, you can't see me resolutions, you're the one that gets disappointed at the end of it. Because half the time, especially if it's a health goal, by February 20th, nobody's even going to the gym. Nobody's even thinking about their goal that they set back in January, because of why. They didn't have a deep-rooted why attached to why they actually wanted to lose weight. Because what happens is people set the resolution, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. They start going to the gym. They start being consistent. And then what happens? Life. They get busy. Their kid gets sick. This happens, that happens. And guess what? It's easy for them to not show up in the gym, or to completely forget about what's going on in terms of their health and their goal and their resolution. And then all of a sudden it comes February and they're like, oh, I knew I wasn't going to hit that anyway. Oh, well. They didn't have consistency or conviction behind it, because they just set this goal of, I want to lose 10 pounds. Well, anybody can lose 10 pounds if they really wanted to, but what would losing 10 pounds do for you? What would losing 10 pounds do for your kids? What would 10 pounds do for your life? What would you hitting this goal really, truly do to better you as a person in this life, as the person God created to make an impact on other people? How would this goal, if you achieved it, affect all of those things? Mic drop right there. I have to applaud myself almost, because that is a gut check even for me. When you set goals, you need to make sure it is attached to something bigger than just saying, hey, I want to lose 10 pounds, or hey, I want to make more money. Why? What would it do for you? What would it do for your family? What would it do for your attitude towards money? What would it do for your life? Don't just set the goal because it sounds good, because I promise you by February 20th, you'll forget about it. So for me, the best way I know how is to help you write down different things that you can really focus on in order to get you to the next level. So one of the things that I've always done is every year I sit down and I try to create a vision board. And in 2019, I really created this awesome vision board. It ended up being the backdrop of my computer screen, so I saw it often. And as I was reflecting on whether I wanted to spend the time to make this amazing PicMonkey graphic, I sat there and I thought about the list that I talked about last week. A waste of time and energy is putting together something like that for me, because I know that if I were to just encompass a word that described 2019 or 2018, that would remind me of my why and my vision. So how can I help you set a word for the year? And this is how. I want you to have a pen and paper, and if you're listening in the car, I want you to think about it, kind of reflect about it as we're talking about it, and then listen to this recording again and really write it down, because there is something powerful spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally, and really scientifically. From brain to hand to paper, you remember things and it provides an extra level of conviction and affirmation in your brain. So I really want you to write these down. So at the top of your paper, I want you to write a word for 2020 and just make a blank line underneath, because you're going to come up with a word for you. I'll share you mine, but I want you to really think about what you're writing in terms of what this word is going to mean for you and how it's going to trigger you for all of your overall vision and goal for your life. So underneath that, on the first line, I want you to write 5 mindset goals I want to accomplish, and then literally number it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then underneath that, I want you to write 5 trackable goals I want to accomplish. These are tangible things. These are almost like SMART goals, specific, measurable, action related, and time, I think is how I remember it. That was from high school that I just remember that. But I always remember SMART goals because they have to be tangible and trackable, and I have to be able to visually see what's going on. So I want you to write 1 through 5 again. And then I want you to write a limiting belief that held me back last year. A limiting belief that held you back last year. And then on the side of it, I want you to write a truth statement to combat that limiting belief. So for me, a limiting belief that held me back last year was that I wasn't enough. I wasn't enough. I was never going to be a good mom. I wasn't enough as a mom. I wasn't enough as a partner. I wasn't enough as all these things that really deep-rooted, seated issues with me and the way that I was raised and the way that I overcame things and, all those relationships I was a part of. A limiting belief that really held me back from enjoying a lot of things was I wasn't enough. So a truth statement for me to combat that limiting belief is I am more than enough. I was born enough because I know who I am and I know whose I am. So for me, that truth statement sits deep in my heart to wherever I am in time, when I start to feel like I'm not enough, I remind myself I am more than enough because I was born enough, because I know who I am and I know whose I am. And that's something that sits in my heart and my soul. And I hope that you connected with that. So as I sat there and I reflected about 2019, I thought about how I was shaken by the pregnancy and the way that things were going with the pregnancy and the relationship that I thought I was in, and all of these things that were just going against my blueprint. You know, you have the white picket fence, the house, the kids, the family, the marriage, all these things that you think about and you were raised, hence we watch Cinderella all the time and everything's a freaking fairy tale. So obviously my blueprint got shattered in that moment. And for me, it was a hard understanding that life just happens, but I wasn't ashamed or didn't need to be ashamed that my blueprint didn't fit X, Y, and Z, because I knew who I was. And I knew that if I continued to just be consistent and show up and get through that I could work on not just me, but continue to work to be the mom that I'm meant to be for my daughter, and to continue to be a growing person, a growing woman who's just learning constantly. So for me, 2019 was about overcoming self-doubt, a limiting belief that my blueprint wasn't matching my life, the self-doubt of not being good enough. All of those things was overcoming a very hard thing in having a natural childbirth, and overcoming, being a new mom, and then struggling with postpartum depression, and then struggling with trying to co-parent, and then struggling with like the ins and outs of just hormones and breastfeeding and logistics. And then work became super toxic, and all of these things that were just constantly coming at me. And I just wanted to be present. And I felt like at the end of the year in 2019, I felt like I was a freaking overcomer. I was like, holy cow, I am an overcomer. And then when I was thinking about a word, I thought about, what I did in 2018. And in 2018, I achieved an incredible goal. And I was so proud of what I did as, a doctor of nursing practice. I did all of these things. I accomplished great goals, and I felt resilient. Like I could literally bounce back out of anything and everything that I wanted, because that was a year after, I had gone through divorce and I changed as a woman, and I believed in who I was again, and I had purpose and fire again, not just in my business, but mentoring other women and the belief. And that's where this podcast came from. So that year was a year of resiliency. So I thought about what I could set the tone with for 2020. And I thought about steadfast and, staying consistent and being relentless and driven and focused. And I thought about one word: unshakable. I want 2020 to be unwavering, unmovable, unshakable, hardworking, headstrong, passionate, blazing on fire, unshakable, deep-seated, deep-rooted, just me being the best freaking Mariah that I could possibly be. As a mom, as a partner, as a sister, as a daughter, as a friend, as a coach, as a mentor, as a doctor, as a person, I want to be unshakable in my vision for my life. So for you, I want you to really think about the 5 mindset goals you want to accomplish. For me, a lot of it is releasing control. I'm a proud mama. She's healthy, she's happy, but I have to let go of the control, and I can only control the controllables, and that's it. Bless and release the rest. I want you to think about the 5 trackable goals. If you're running a business or you're thinking about running a business, just sleep, go after that business, set the intention. If you're thinking about, going back to school, set the intention to do it. If you're thinking about all the things that you're doing in your professional career, set the intention and do it. If you're thinking about something financially, set the intention and do it. Those are trackable things. And then I want you to really think about what limiting belief held you back and how you can say the truth statement over and over again. Because if that limiting belief was a limiting belief in 2019, the likelihood of it being a limiting belief in 2020 is high until you fix it, until you come up with a statement that's going to help you to combat that every single time it comes up. So I am proud of you for listening to this call. I'm proud of you for wanting to stay connected with your goals and your intentions. I'm proud of you for wanting to level the F up. And instead of doing what everybody else does and set a resolution January 1st and by February 20th, you fall off the wagon, you listening to this call tells me that you are that much further in your mindset, your spirituality, your health, your happiness, your overall mental stability, because when you are looking for resources to better yourself, that tells me that you're my people. That tells me you're my tribe. So you listening to this, I already know you're my tribe and you're my people. So I love you. And I appreciate you, and I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful that you share these episodes so that it gets to more people, because I truly, truly believe that you are remarkable, that you were created for a purpose and a reason, that God created each of us to make an impact in this world, and that if you trust what I'm saying, trust the process, do the freaking work, become the human you were designed to be, you will feel fulfilled. You will make an impact. You will no longer live for the weekend. You will no longer dread Monday. You will no longer feel like you were trapped and couldn't breathe and suffocating within yourself. I remember feeling that way. And it's when I didn't have things to look out and look forward to. So I want you to have those things. I want you to really hear me when I say this, because it is 2020 and I haven't said it to you yet. My sweet, beautiful friend, you are wanted. You are needed. You are worthy, you are loved, and you are more than enough. I want your word to be something that shakes you to your core, that helps you to believe in the words that I'm saying, that you are capable and able and confident enough to do anything you put your mind to. You can, you will, and you must. The world is missing out on the beautiful gift that you have. Please hear me say that. The world needs you. The world needs your light, needs your impact, needs your ideas, your creativity. You can do this. Set the intention. Create a word for 2020 that lights your soul on fire. I love you guys so much, and I can't wait to join you next Tuesday for another episode of Your Life Matters.